Welcome back to our channel. The story begins when Tracy suddenly receives shocking news. Alan will no longer be using the Jabot Corporation's private jet as usual. Instead, he chooses the last commercial flight to Paris, where his goal is to meet Ashley, the woman who is supposed to be his other half, but is also the subject of unimaginable conspiracies. Alan is not a person who is easily swayed by emotions or feelings. In the past, he has experienced many events that have hardened his soul, and his choice today seems to reflect a carefully calculated decision. Giving up the Jabot jet, a symbol of power and wealth, to board a commercial flight shows something very different. Not only was it a risky move, it was also a sign that Alan wanted to carry out any plot, any trick that could happen unexpectedly. Alan seemed to have carefully planned this meeting. He did not simply want to meet Ashley but also brought along a means that contained a deep purpose, a dark act that few could have predicted. The choice of Paris, the city of love but also a place with many historical mysteries, made the picture even more attractive and full of contradictions. That evening, when the sunset dyed the Paris sky red, Alan entered a luxurious restaurant located in the city center. The space here was both classic and modern, imbued with French sophistication. From the soft leather chairs to the wall art, all spoke of the luxury of this place. Everything seemed to be perfectly arranged for a decisive meeting. Ashley, the person Alan was aiming for, famous for her charming beauty and strong soul, was sitting waiting in a private corner of the restaurant. Little did she know that, from the very first moments, this meeting had been haunted by a dark obsession. When Alan approached, her eyes seemed to shine with surprise mixed with anxiety, but also full of curiosity, a natural reaction when meeting a man with a past and too many secrets. In the warm but also alcoholic atmosphere of the evening, Alan began to chat with Ashley gently. The initial few words exchanged seemed to be only intended to create an intimate atmosphere. However, behind Alan's cold eyes, there was a far different intention. In his hand, a transparent glass of water was delicately decorated but contained a strange substance, a sleeping drug that he used to control the minds of others. No one could have guessed that in that intimate moment, Alan had committed a cruel act. While Ashley was absorbed in her story, he gently and subtly added a sleeping substance to her glass of water. This action was not only a sneaky act, but also a demonstration of a sophisticated plot, a power play that Alan had planned for a long time. Ashley's feelings suddenly changed from comfort to confusion, as if all her senses were erased in an instant. The situation became even more dangerous when Alan, after making sure that Ashley was losing consciousness, quickly caught her glass of water. In that moment, it seemed like time stopped, all the surrounding sounds were just the pounding of her heart. This action was not only a betrayal of trust, but also a declaration that, in Alan's world, everything could be manipulated and controlled at his will. The meeting between Alan and Ashley is more than just a romantic date or an emotional reunion. It is the turning point in a series of troubling events, with many unforeseen consequences. Tracy, who has been hearing the news through her ears, is stunned by this truth. To her, Alan's actions are not only a moral violation, but also open a door to dark mysteries, political and family intrigues that have been hidden in the shadows of power. Tracy wonders what she can do to prevent the unpredictable consequences of Alan's actions. Is this just part of a larger plan, or is this simply a temporary nightmare in a world full of conflicts and uncompromising competition? Those thoughts not only gave her a headache but also pushed her into a journey to find the truth, a dangerous journey, where every step could lead to the collapse of an entire system of power. In the psychological picture of the characters in the story, Alan is always portrayed as a person full of contradictions. He may be a romantic, charming person, but underneath that facade is a cruel mind, ready to use any means to achieve his goals. Ashley, with her enchanting beauty and inner strength, does not seem to be a complete victim in this story. Perhaps she also has her own secrets, her own strategies to deal with the world full of deception and tricks. Tracy, with her pure heart but also full of determination, always feels confused when witnessing Alan's suspicious actions. The story of Alan and Ashley quickly spread in the upper-class community. Rumors and stalking stories began to appear everywhere, stirring up a wave of indignation not only from fans but also from fierce competitors. While some admire Alan's boldness and decisiveness, others condemn his actions as crossing the line of morality and humanity. Secret alliances are gradually formed within the Jabot family, aimed at preventing actions that could damage their reputation and power. Tracy, who has been influenced by internal intrigues in the past, is clearly aware that if Alan continues to act on his own will, the consequences will not stop at one individual but can spread to the entire already shaky power system. The secret meetings, the stealthy strategies drawn up in the dark, all aim to ensure that justice, albeit a little late, will eventually be served. As the atmosphere becomes increasingly tense, Alan seems unable to escape his fate. The intervention of outside factors, from sharp journalists to dangerous political opponents, gradually brings the secrets to light. Ashley, although initially weak under the influence of the anesthetic, after waking up, decides not to become a mere victim of a cunning plan. She begins to fight, to seek the truth and expose all the conspiracies, even if it means confronting a man she once trusted. In a tense confrontation that takes place at an urgent press conference, Ashley dares to stand up and speak out, recounting everything that happened. Her courage has gradually changed public opinion, from sympathy to outrage at Alan's fraudulent and abusive actions. Behind the charming smile and cold appearance of that man, people gradually realize that inside him there exists a ghost of the past, a past filled with sins and wrong decisions. The events that happened at that luxurious restaurant became a turning point not only for the lives of Alan and Ashley but also for the entire Jabot family system. Investigations were opened, old connections and intrigues were gradually exposed. Tracy, in the role of a person standing between two worlds, between old and modern values, between loyalty and betrayal, became the central character of this uncompromising war. Questions about morality, about power, and about human values began to be raised in every conversation. Can we ever trust people who have hurt each other, or is it that, in the game of fate, every action is just a step in a larger game where trust and betrayal go hand in hand? The characters seem to be trapped in a spiral of past decisions, and each current move only makes the past more unpredictable. The end of the story, although there is no clear conclusion, is certain that everything has changed. Alan, once seen as a symbol of power and cold strategy, now has to face the consequences of his dark actions. Ashley, despite the extreme shock, has regained control of her life and is determined not to let her dark past dictate her future. Tracy, with a heart that is no less sensitive but also full of determination, has become a fighter for justice, for a world in which human values are placed first. Although plots and schemes can change the fate of each individual, in the end, only love and faith in ourselves can help us find light in the darkness. The story of the young and the restless has deeply portrayed the conflict between good and evil, between trust and betrayal. And in each character, from Alan to Ashley, from Tracy to the others, there exists a piece of life, which will reveal a multi-dimensional, rich picture that is no less heartbreaking but also full of hope.